Maybe it is some old wound, maybe it is something from your ancestors through what we call epigenetics, but it's some pattern within you that is stopping you from connection. You know, human beings, we tend to try to have a fixed reality. That also can happen within our the minds and in the way we think. You know, we kind of get in these stuck patterns, and even in our heart, in the way we feel, and it gets kind of stuck. It's comfortable, but it also isn't like flowing. It's not moving. It's not changing, and change is part of life. Like change is always constant. So the more we hold in those stuck patterns, then the less we're connected to the flow of life and the movement of life and the changes that are around us. So ceremonies have always been traditionally used to essentially get people back into alignment with that flow of life, with that movement. So, you know, this isn't something new. This has always been with humanity since probably the beginning of community, the beginning of culture, that they recognize, you know, we get into these kind of patterns that aren't resourceful, they're not helpful, and we need to move that along, come back to ourselves, come back to our relationships, come back to our relationship with nature. And how do we do that? And that's where these ceremonies were developed. The ceremonies that we use, we have an intimate relationship, not just with the ceremonies, but with the people that it came from. The indigenous people that I've worked with are really adamant about the modern people getting these ceremonies, these tools, these techniques, this understanding, because you know our survival as a species right now is all interconnected. It's not like there's one group or one place or you know one nation of people that is unaffected by the changes that are happening in the environment and the changes that are happening in the world. Let's say the grief that exists within the modern person is directly impacting the indigenous people, even if they have an intact culture. So the people I work with in the indigenous communities understand that very clearly, and they essentially say, you modern people need this. And a person like myself, what I essentially am doing is bridging those two realities, those two concepts, those two mindsets, and that I have one foot in you know that world, and I have one foot in the modern world, and you know I help this side over here understand what it is to be connected, and then utilizing these ceremonies and utilizing these tools and teaching people to understand that. Human beings are searching for a context of reality so that we know how to live in this world, so that we can be of service to this world, that we won't harm the creatures of this world, that we won't harm ourselves and one another, that we can actually live in health and happiness and hope and for a future and live into that future. So creating the new context of humanity is what we're working on.